are. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to you in live stream land. We're glad you're joining us as well. We're having a very sunny, frigidly cold Pacific Northwest morning, and we're glad you're joining us from wherever you are coming from. Right now, we have a wonderful kind of pickup band here. We had a different plan, but this is how it is today, and I'm grateful to welcome Leo and Dave and our wonderful Tabor.
Yes.
You want to take us into music?
Yeah, if you can stand up, we're going to sing into this day. I woke up this morning with my mind staying on spirit. I woke up this morning with my mind staying on spirit. I woke up this morning with my mind staying on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Walking and talking with my mind staying on spirit. Oh yes, walking and talking with my mind staying on spirit. Walking and talking with my mind staying on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. You can't blame your neighbor. No, you can't blame your neighbor with your mind staying on spirit. You can't blame your neighbor with your mind staying on spirit. Oh no, you can't blame your neighbor with your mind staying on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. All right, let's wake up together. Here we go. I woke up this morning with my mind staying on spirit. I woke up this morning with my mind staying on spirit. Oh yes, I woke up this morning with my mind staying on spirit. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. One more time, sing it out. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Well, take a moment to greet some of those friendly faces out there. And if you're here with us on social media, let us know where you're tuning in from. Supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. 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 All right, well, we want to invite any kiddos who are here with us today to come up and meet your lovely teachers up here at the front. We have an awesome outdoor program. It looks like we got the appropriate wear of nice coats today. It's good. Puffy coats. I'm going to go enjoy some sunshine, get some vitamin D. Let's sing these kiddos out to their class. 1, 2, ready. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, it's a special place. We got Mother Nature and the human race. The world's got trees and bumblebees, rivers and lakes and the open seas, mountains and valleys and animals too, and a sun that shines on me and you. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, it's a special place. We got Mother Nature and the human race. We got Mother Nature and the human race. Have a lovely class. 1, 2, ready, go.
Thanks, guys. Good morning. My name is Andrea Wood, and I am the practitioner this morning, as is Deb Dole, there in the second row. Just want to really welcome everyone here. We're glad you're here, and I want to invite you to pray with me. So, relaxing into this still moment. Know with me as I know that there is one. There's one presence and one power, one magnificent spirit that is present in all sacred humans as a rich tapestry woven through with love, with peace, and with light. This divine givingness is everywhere present, and all beings are an expression of this one. And in this knowing, as I walk the spiritual path, I know that I don't look ahead to the destination. Every step is the destination. Every step is peace. Every step is love. As I am a sacred human having a spiritual experience in this world. And I give thanks. I'm so grateful, Spirit, for this beautiful day and for this spiritual community we are all a part of. And I release my word, knowing it is done, and so it is.
and I know as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. I surrender. I trust and I know as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. Let's sing that again. I surrender. I surrender. I trust and I know as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. I surrender. I trust and I know as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. I fall into the arms of love. Take comfort as I am. Surrender all need for a plan. Divine presence is always at hand. Take comfort as I am. Take comfort. Take comfort as I am. Surrender all need for a plan. Divine presence is always at hand. Take comfort as I am. I know there's only one. I know there's only one moving me to be untethered, undone. I accept this love healing, breathing me whole, and give thanks for it is done. Take comfort as I am. Surrender all need for a plan. Divine presence is always at hand. Take comfort as I am. I know there's only one done, and give thanks, for it is done.
Thank you. All right. So it sometimes falls to me to talk about difficult things. And we've had a couple of very difficult things happen in the last couple weeks. And it's never easy for me. I'm one of those people that cry at the drop of a hat. When I was a new minister, I would be asked to do funerals for people I didn't even know, and I would cry there too, which was a little awkward. So I'm going to talk about Tyree Nichols. But I'm not going to talk about Tyree Nichols. Oh, wrong one. There we go. Here we go. I'm going to talk instead about the spiritual principles that I think might be helpful in this difficult time. And I don't know if you're even aware that someone was, his life was tragically lost when he was brutally assaulted by 5 police officers in Memphis, Tennessee. And you may not know that Memphis actually prides itself on its real awareness of what one of the principles of our teaching is, which is we're all one, but we're not all the same. So there's an honoring of diversity. So this hit Memphis real hard and hit all of us who heard about it. And so my friend Jim Lockhart came here about 4 years ago and did a workshop. He was a minister in Baltimore, Maryland, a very violent, racially divided kind of city at the time that he was serving. And before he was a minister, he was a police detective for 30 years. And so, you know, he's been helpful to me because he taught principles of spirituality for years and years, but he also had that background. So this is what he said. You don't have to watch the video, but you cannot ignore the video. I see lots of caring responses out there. Find a way to do something positive outside of yourself right now. Contact your local politicians, your police chiefs. Let them know that you want your police departments to have policies of disengagement with appropriate training at a minimum. Let them know that you are done with the status quo. And then go to your state and national politicians and let them know that it is a time for reimagining policing in America. And I agree with that. I agree that the more silent we remain, the less our choices and our concerns and our intentions are made manifest. And so speaking in a certain way, see, this is the other part of it. I have a teacher, his name is Thich Nhat Hanh, and he recently passed away, but he was famous for social action. And he was famous because he did it in a different way than many, many people do. See, most people in situations like this react in one way. They either turtle in because they don't know what to do and they don't know what to say and they don't want to offend anyone and they want to just make it go away because it's incredibly uncomfortable to feel the feelings. The other people get angry. That's another real regular response. And he invited us to consider a middle way. Of course, he was a Buddhist, so that's kind of their thing, right? And he taught a story that I've told here many, many times, and it really applies here. He taught a story about being in a ship that was seeking to rescue people in the Strait of Siam who were fleeing from Cambodia. We love babies, and I'm so glad babies are here, and I'm trying so hard to find help. So the story went that these boats were overwhelmed with people in them, seeking to flee. and a storm had come up, and everyone was panicking. And so they were scrambling over each other, and they were standing up, and the boat was in danger of capsizing. And one man sat down, and he looked at everyone and he got everyone to sit down, and the boat stabilized. And Thich Nhat Hanh used that story to talk about the middle way of what you and I can do, which is to be the man in the boat that approaches situations from calm, from clarity, from skill, from knowing. And it doesn't in any way mean don't act. It means act from a different place than anger or fear. No turtling in, but also no lashing out. You know, they say in the recovery movement that when we're blaming anyone, there's one finger pointing this way, but 3 fingers pointing here. And so it's here that we work. In spiritual practice, this is where we work. Because it would be so comfortable for me, I don't know about you, but it's so comfortable for me to say, I would never do something like that. But that's not true. That's not true, really. If I really deeply dive into the places where I've been full of rage, I don't know. I was fortunate to be surrounded by reminders, a Buddha statue here, a husband there, to sit down and not act. So I can't say that I wouldn't do something violent. I'd like to say that. I practice every day with anything that arises so that I won't. And so the work always begins on the spiritual path with ourselves. That's where we start. And how do we start? Well, everybody has a different approach angle. I'm going to talk a little bit about it. I was telling Tabor, it's hard to segue from talking about this tragedy and the effects of violence on our society. And my particular concern is on our children. Into talking a regular talk. But I wanted to at least bring to you the thought that if we begin with ourselves and we really dedicate ourselves to nonviolent action, not acting out of fear and not acting out of anger, but acting, saying, speaking, talking to other people, talking about what can be done, finding out what is being done. And that was actually Ty was his nickname. Ty's radical approach is he asked people to write love letters to their congresspeople, to acknowledge the hard work that they were already doing, and then to ask, and what are you doing about this? Because I have a feeling if we were to ask the police chief of Bellingham, well, so what are you doing about this? We might find out that there's a lot happening, that there's an awareness, but then again, maybe not. But if we don't ask, we'll never know. It's only hearsay until we ask. All right, so that's that part, that segment. And now I'm going to transition into talking about transitions, which is weird, and yet so appropriate because all month, Zena and I have been talking about charting your journey as part of the larger yearly theme of your soul's journey. And today I wanted to talk about a concept that my dear friend John Cunningham worked with me and is working with many people as a coach around, and it's called your journey style. And that's my name for it. I have no idea what John calls it. And you have the piece of paper there because in a moment I'm going to ask you to write something. But let me talk to you a little bit about what a journey style means. What's that all about? So you and I, in the trajectory of our lives, will go through a number of transitions. And some of them are super easy, and some of them are not. And some of them, I'm thinking of our dear friend Ken here, he just retired. That's a transition. Okay, yes, and I don't know if anybody else has retired, but I've had a lot of people talk to me about their retirement and say it wasn't all that rosy sometimes, that it was a difficult transition, right? But so are so many others, right? There's having a baby. Anybody have a baby? I thought I was ready. Oh, no, I was not ready at all. Or a divorce. Anybody? Yeah, hard transition sometimes. Um, in fact, there are so many places where we move from one reality to another. And we can liken those transitions to a journey, because there's really definable parts of a journey if you start really thinking about it. And so the definable parts of a journey, the first is arrival. So would you write that down at the top of your page? I know. People in live stream, get a piece of paper real quick and something to write with, and write arrival at the top of that. The second part of any journey is a threshold. I'm sorry, it's not arrival, it's approach. Approach, threshold, and then after that is the arrival. So you've got the approach to what's going to happen, and then you have the being pushed through, like a baby being born from one state into another, and then you have the arrival in that state. And so these three defined stages are really such an interesting way of thinking about anything that you might be going through or might be going to go through, and I wanted to talk about it. So I brought you a story about one man's approach strategy in a particular situation he found himself in, and this man is David White. Many of you know him, very famous poet, lives on Whidbey Island, and he was a very, very successful ornithologist, and worked in the plum job in the Galapagos, and then left that job realizing that he was called to something else. And so after that leaving, he was in this sort of limbo land that a transitional puts you in, and he decided to go trekking, looking at birds in the Himalayas. So he did that, and so we're now in that. He's been doing that with a guide, and now he needed time alone to think about what his next steps would be. So he's in the approach phase of his journey into a new place. And so he decides to take a parallel path to them, a trail, and meet up with them further up the valley. So on the afternoon of the second day, exhilarated by the clean, thin air and the ever-nearing white peaks rising around me, I turned sharply from an eroded cliff path high above an immense black gorge and found myself on a grassy shelf where the path turned from the rock wall and attempted to cross the drop. My nightmare. I say attempted because, to my utter dismay, the bridge itself was broken. The taut metal cables on one side of the narrow footbridge had snapped, and the old rotted planks that had made up its floor had concertined into a crazy jumble in the middle. Looking down through the gaps, I could see the dizzying 300 or 400 foot drop into the dark, lichened gorge below. I stopped right by the very entrance step to the bridge, calculated the movements I would have to make, a kind of entangled tightrope walk at full stretch between the two remaining cables on the left-hand side of the bridge, made as if to go, hesitated, and then immediately retreated to a safely anchored sunlit rock to sit it out. By now, time had telescoped, and I comforted myself with the long and honorable human tradition when confronted with an intractable problem. The hope is that the stair, if held long and hard enough, will cause the broken dream to spontaneously repair itself. After an hour of staring at the bridge, in its intractable state, I was still refusing to cross it. So he goes on, I'm going to skip a little bit. Before, I was not normally afraid of heights. And here we go. Hours passed, and I finally faced up to the defeat and made an attempt to swallow my pride and determined that there was nothing for it but to shoulder my pack and start back down the path. As I reached for my pack, I noticed the silhouette of a small but strangely shaped figure shuffling into view along the same cliff path that had brought me to the bridge. I saw her, but she did not see me. An old, bent woman carrying an enormously wide-mouthed dung basket on her back. She saw nothing but the ground she was so intent on searching. In these bare, high places, denuded of trees and fuel, yak dung dries quickly in the parched air and is harvested as a valuable fuel. She shuffled head bent toward me, and seeing at last the two immense booted feet of a Westerner, looked up in surprise. Her face wrinkled with humor as she registered her own surprise, and in the greeting customary throughout Nepal, she bowed her head toward me with raised hands, saying, "Namaste." I inclined my head and clasped my hands to reply, but before I could look up, she went straight across that shivering chaos of wood and broken steel in one movement. I saw her turn for a moment, smile almost mischievously, and then, to my astonishment, she disappeared from the sunlight into the dripping darkness of the opposing cliff. Incredulous, but without for one moment letting myself stop to think, I picked up my pack and went straight after her, crossing the broken bridge in 7 or 8 quick but frightening strides. So that's one way to approach a journey. It's probably not a real super effective way to apply to the next transition you're going to be facing. So I thought I'd ask you a couple of questions, and then we'll go from there. I'd like you to write on your piece of paper 3 life transitions that you've already gone through. And so I've mentioned some that, moving to a new city, having a baby, the empty nest, a new job, retirement. There's all kinds of transitions. So write down your top 3 that you can think of. They don't have to be traumatic. They just were transitions. Watching people write. We'll give you a minute more. For those of you who have already thought of yours, this is what you're going to do next. I'd like you to look for the common threads in the 3 that you wrote down in terms of how you worked with those transitions. A common thread. And maybe, like for me, in 3 different scenarios, I realized that the way I responded to those was I felt that they were unexpected and I was unprepared. So that was a common thread. I immediately moved into action without stopping to think about it, sort of a David White move. And I forget the third thing I identified, but there were common threads to these 3 that I could see. So think about it. When you look at what you wrote, because there's no accident about the things you wrote, what do you notice about yourself? What was the common response? And just write that down. And if you can't think of anything, we have 2 practitioners that you can see after the service. Their eyes got really big to talk it through. But for now, the point is that you have an approach strategy to any transition. And if the transition is sudden, you often don't get to do your approach strategy. And knowing what your approach to transition strategy is predictive to you of the outcome of that transition. So, for example, I'll use myself. For me, if I know that something's coming up, that it's going to be a big change, I go into preparation mode. That's my thing. I want to research. I want to get my house in order. I want to make sure that as much as possible I can prepare so that when the transition is happening, I have as much downloaded skill sets as I might need. It's sort of like my approach is often called the Swiss Army knife approach. I want every skill set that I can think of on board so that whatever I encounter, I've got a way to work with it. It's a great strategy for me. It's not always everybody's, though. I have a friend who, she's an introvert. And see, I'm sort of more toward the extroverted scale. So what she does when she knows the transition is happening is she goes inward. And she thinks a lot. She thinks about it. She feels into it. She thinks about whether she wants that to happen. She thinks about what will happen if it does happen. She thinks about what will happen after. Big whole picture person from start to finish, but nobody knows that's happening. Anybody here? Because this is a way of being in the world. And so her long-suffering husband will be sitting around the fire with her when she'll say, well, time to move. What? What? Yeah, we need to move now. What? Because he's a Swiss Army knife approach person and, likes to have everything lined up for about a year before we make a decision like that even. So an approach strategy is important to know for you because knowing how you deal with change, deal with approaching a time of journey will allow you to understand not only how to do a transition well, but, we don't always get a choice. We don't always get a choice to just, it's coming. I'll get all my skill sets in order. Sometimes it's not like that. Sometimes it's like someone walks in and says, well, we're moving. And you get to go with them because you love them. But your Swiss Army approach is not going to happen. And you're thrown into, guess what? Incredible discomfort. Really. And so when we know that our strategy is a certain way, if the unexpected happens and we don't get to do that strategy, what we can do is we can acknowledge that. We can talk it through with the other person if there's another person involved, or talk it through with ourselves if not, and then move as if the approach strategy had been implemented, trusting that as unprepared as we may feel, we actually have a lot on board that we can utilize. Now, I've named 2 different approach strategies, but there's a lot. And what happens when we know and can then utilize that is when we get to the threshold, that strategy can allow us to move through the threshold with grace. We can utilize all of our spiritual understanding as change is happening and let go in ways that allow the threshold experience to take us into the arrival. The thing of it is, my friend John said, and it's so true, he said most people want to think that they're at a threshold when they're not. I remember going into labor with my first child, and I had taken all the Lamaze breathing classes and stuff. And so I'm in the very first part of the delivery, and I'm wanting to breathe like it's time to push. Because to me it was like, this is so intense, we must be there. And the midwife was like, we're not there yet. We're going to do slow, deep breathing. I'm like, we're not there yet. So this is a tendency in all human beings to think that we're at the threshold when actually what's happening is we're way over in the approach. And we've just encountered something that is new information for us to add to our way of approaching. So for example, David's got a plan. He's got a plan. He was with a Sherpa and an ornithologist guide, and then he said, "I see you at the top of the valley. I'm going to go on a parallel way." He's going along, and all of a sudden, there's a bridge. And it's new information. And what does he do? He freezes until somebody unlocks him enough so that he can just go, "God Almighty, go!" And that'll happen to you. I know this is not good news necessarily. So my point is, information gathering along the way, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, whether your approach strategies one way or another, will allow you to use spiritual principles like let go. Remember that song, I Surrender, that we just sang? I surrender, I let go, right? And also to know that divine presence is part of the approach. I was working with someone the other day who's going through a transition, and it's easy to forget that there is a deeper wisdom that resides within each of us that actually, in those moments, can be accessed. But like the guy in the boat that I was talking about earlier, we can't access it if we're panicked. You may have noticed that. In panic mode, that part of our brain just shuts down. It's not there, it's not available, and we're running on adrenaline. It's only when we can remain calm that divine wisdom at that deep level can be accessed during these really trying experiences, these journeys that we may be going through. So the journey style is important to know, and it's important to really think about. In one 20-minute talk, I can't tell you everything. I can tell you that you have one. It may or may not have been working for you. It's a learned response. And you have the opportunity to really look deeply so that you can transition and journey through your life more gracefully with Spirit on board. So let me do a prayer for that. Always in life, I have the opportunity to chart a new course, to take everything that I am and to offer it in new ways, to explore and journey, change, up-level my experience. And what is so helpful is I now remember that there is something beyond my limited knowing, my limited understanding of what to do and how to do it, that does know not only how to do it, but what to do by means of me. This divine wisdom that is deep within and resonates within my being is operating all the time. And I turn to that wisdom now, allowing it more and more house room within my mind and heart, opening the doorways of possibility to that wisdom and allowing it to become my pilot, my guidance, the one that assists me as I approach a new journey. I remain open to that wisdom as I take the next right step and then the one after that and the one after that, refusing to allow fear or anger to shut me down, but instead remaining calm and open and clear that with that guidance, I cannot fail. And I allow myself the joy of discovery in the journey, experiencing all the newness not as a threat or something to manipulate, but something to take in and allow to change me for the better. So I'm grateful for the presence of this wisdom, grateful for knowing and accepting it, and grateful for the next right step in my life. And if this prayer is true for you, all you need do is join me in saying, and so it is. Thank you, everyone. Our ushers have been patiently waiting to bring forward the baskets, and if you're new with us, or this may be just one of the newer times for you, we have such appreciation and gratitude for the donations that everyone makes to our center. I like to say to Reverend Zena, you know, the product is spirit, and it's sometimes a hard sell. And so, you know, because you don't like leave here with something in your hand, you have leave hopefully with something in your heart. So thank you for supporting this work and the incredible community that we are. All right.
I am blessed. I am blessed every day of my life. I am blessed, 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 blessed. When I wake up in the morning or I lay my head to rest, I am blessed. I am blessed. I am free. I am free. I am free every day of my life. I am free, 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 free. When I wake up in the morning or I lay my head to rest, I am free. I am free. Sing, I am free. I am free. I am free. One more time. I am free. I am free.
To take a moment and just thank the cooks and those of you who brought ingredients for our awesome cooking event that happened last week. And if you didn't know about it, this is what it is, because we're going to do another one in February. We are partnered with an organization called Bridges to Services, who outreach to the unhoused who are not in camps, but rather are solo birds that are out in different places. And this organization seeks to reach out to them, provide them with a hot meal, and not only just hand them a meal, but actually sit with them and develop a relationship so that maybe they can connect these folks with much needed services, medical services, social services, things like that. So we last week made 47 dinners. And there were a lot of people that donated the ingredients, and you'll be hearing about it again in February. But thank you to all who came and brought stuff. Really appreciate it. Couple of announcements here. We are having the showing of the documentary Kiss the Ground right after our service today. It'll start around 11:45. And it is an incredible film that the Earth Stewards are presenting. We'd love you to stay and be a part of it. We encourage people who heard about it. These are our Girl Scouts. We'll have them here in a minute. And if you would like to stay for the documentary, we also have Michael Fearer, who's the executive director of Walk a Million Trees. He'll be here to answer any questions and talk a little bit. We'll have a chance to discuss. But it's one of my favorite and most encouraging films that I've seen about how we can help and what we can do, sort of. I mean, it's lateral, but it's important. So I hope you can stay. We make coffee, so if you're sleepy, we have that. So let me bring our Girl Scouts up for a minute, and let's have this microphone.
They're working it out.
Girls. So you may know Eliza and Ellie, and this is Linnea, and they are part of the same Girl Scout troop, and guess what time it is? It's cookie time!
Okay, so
Why don't you take your, yeah, there we go.
I'm Eliza, and I'm in Troop 46466, Christine's troop, and I'm a junior. I've been in Girl Scouts for 6 years, and my goal this year is 1,900 cookies so I can get a new Apple MacBook. And then
Ellie?
My name's Ellie, and my goal is 800 to get the Nintendo Switch, and I don't know how long 4 years I have been in Girl Scouts.
My name is Linnea, and my goal is 600. Oh my gosh, 1,600. I keep getting that confused.
Your mom's saying what?
1,600. Yeah. And I've been in Girl Scouts for like 4 or 5 years, I think.
6?
6. Yeah.
It all blurs. It's so good. Great. Well, you want to tell them what to do?
So we're gonna be at the back of the area, and we'll have some forms and QR codes, so you can buy cookies. And the main troop goal is we're gonna go travel in Seattle in about May.
Okay, and Ellie has something.
And there's this new cookie that you can buy online. It's like a raspberry. Chocolate.
Raspberry.
It's called the Raspberry Rally.
The raspberry rally.
Yes, and I believe there's gluten-free, right? Yes.
Oh.
The other mom of the troop.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be donating some cookies to Ferndale Family Services. And buying them toilet paper.
Yay!
I think that's good. Pretty good. As you know, public speaking is only second unto the fear of dying for most people. So yay, girls. Okay, so just a couple other things. There is a new series that's starting. It's an upper division series, so you need to have taken 2 accredited Science of Mind classes to be eligible to take this series. It's called The Inward Journey. It's arranged in 4 units of 5 weeks each, and it will be starting on February 16th. And I'll be the instructor for the first one, but I have a core of really gifted teachers that'll be helping me along this year together in Inward Journey. If you're interested in taking the Inward Journey, you are invited to register on our website, and there is an informational Zoom workshop which will be really fun. It's actually a workshop. It's not just like, and this is what I'm going to do. It's really something for you to dig in and start the process of your inward journey. That's going to be happening on February 9th via Zoom. So you can stay in the comfort of your own home and workshop with us. And so we'd love you to think about coming, especially those of you who've been students for a long time. You've done all the courses maybe multiple times, and you'd like to deepen your journey, but you don't want to be a practitioner. You know what I'm saying? So we'd love you to be there and be a part of it. And if you don't know whether you've had 2 accredited classes, you can call the office, because the all-knowing Clara can tell you. Yeah. You can see that we have a lot of partnerships with wonderful, wonderful organizations. And one of them that's fairly recent is in doing our Cake Brigade, which is a group of people who bake birthday cakes for unhoused youth. The leader of that, Linda Felton, is also on the board of the Friends of the Family Resources Center. And she started telling us about what this organization does, and we said, well, we want to help. So what does that organization do? Well, you may know that we have a lot of families, particularly when the gas prices really soared. They're having to make some pretty tough choices about what they can and can't do for their kids. And the frontline people that know about this are teachers. And the teachers know everything. I don't know if you knew that, but they do. They know when the kids' parents have had a fight, good news, bad news. They know when someone's dog died, and they know when they haven't had a meal. They know when something's happened and they're wearing the same clothes over and over. They know. And so the Family Resources Center was established in the Bellingham School District to support families who didn't have quite enough to really help their kids. So the Friends are a group of people that go around, they're a nonprofit, and they go around and ask for donations of various things that are needed by those families. They go into a storage, and then the families go and receive what they need. So there's going to be a list next week on the Ask Me desk, but I can tell you that diapers are top of the list, particularly size 1 and 7, and then after that, size 4. For those of you who haven't had babies for a while, yes, there's sizes now. And then full-size shampoo and conditioner, deodorant, dish soap, laundry soap, things like that. And so if you have any questions, the list is on our website, and you can look there. We have a donation bin in the back, and it'll be here for the month of February, and then we'll take it over to the storage unit and put it on the shelves. If you don't have the ability to get those things or would like to make a donation of money, gift cards are also deeply appreciated to places like Winco and Fred Meyer, so that people can take those and buy what they need. So any help you can give, really appreciate it. Linda also let me know that the Cake Brigade is searching for 3 new bakers, and they would be baking a birthday cake. And if you have an interest in that, you can either call the office or there's a sign up at the Ask Me desk. Last but not least, and I mean, there's so many things I could tell you about, but last but not least, for the last 10 years, I've been doing a women's retreat, and we will be having another one August 11th through the 13th, and registration will open next week. This retreat will be without my dear friend Sue Miller-Bourne, and I don't want you to register without knowing that, but it will be spectacular because it always is, and she sends her love. Her body is not able to handle the terrain of the Whidbey Institute any longer. And so she's retiring from retreats until maybe some different things can work to help her be more mobile. We love her dearly, and I'm going to miss her like heck, and I know those of you who come to retreats will too, but the retreat is still on, and I hope you'll come. Yeah. So there it is. You've had enough of me. Let's have some more of Tabor and her crew.
For the sun that warms this body, for the earth that we call home, for the love that knows no boundary, I am thankful. For the trees that line the mountains, for the sea and life it holds, for the source of inspiration, I am thankful. All right, let's sing this out together. Love and light. Love, light, life. Fill me up. Peace, power, beauty, joy. Fill me up for the one infinite, divine that is and ever was. I am thankful. I am thankful for abundance and growing, for the mystery unfolding, for each and every being, sacred truth we are knowing, for kindness and compassion and the courage to take action, for the law of attraction and the freedom to create. Of life, fill me up. Peace, power, beauty, joy. Fill me up for the one infinite, divine that is and ever was. I am thankful. I am thankful. Love and light, sing it out. Love, light, life. Fill me up. Peace, power, beauty, joy. Fill me up for the one infinite, divine that is and ever was. I am thankful. I am thankful for the sun that warms this body, for the earth that we call home, for love that knows no boundary. I am thankful, so thankful for this community, for you being here today. We'll see you again.